Emergency sirens shattered the peaceful suburban evening, their wailing sound reverberating through wooden gates and weathered house tops. Crimson and azure emergency lights danced against the branches, casting the darkness in desperate colors. Police officers rushed across the yard, their flashlight beams cutting through the overgrown vegetation. Yet it wasn't the human responders who first detected the reality. It was Rex, the police canine. His ears stood alert, his fangs exposed, his whole frame shaking with the type of primal knowledge that only canines possess. He had frozen completely, fixated on the deteriorating storage building in the rear yard. He yanked his restraint with increasing force, his claws digging into the soil until eventually he pulled the officers forward with irresistible determination. What remained concealed beyond that corroded metal entrance was beyond anyone's expectations and would forever alter everyone present that evening. If you value compassion, fresh starts, or the unwavering devotion of our four-legged friends, please consider giving this video a thumbs up, sharing it with those you care about, subscribing to Loyal Hearts, and dropping a comment down below because tales like this demonstrate just how transformative love and dedication can be. It had started as a routine missing persons report. 2 young siblings had failed to return from their classes. Their school bags were discovered abandoned beside the road, their footwear covered in mud, and their families' desperate pleas had reached law enforcement just hours before. Every second counted. Officer Daniels, an experienced policeman with over a decade on the job, had participated in numerous search operations previously, yet something about this particular case had his pulse pounding. He was familiar with the area well, peaceful dead-end streets, concealed properties, the type of locations that could hide mysteries far too effortlessly. However, there were no clues until Rex, the precinct's German shepherd, dropped his snout to the earth and detected an odor that seemed out of place. The canine's immediate intensity caught the officers off guard. His snarls were deep, throaty, pulsing with determination. He sprinted toward the backyard of a deteriorating house at the street's terminus, pulling the men forward like a powerful current dragging vessels to land. Officer Daniels requested additional units as they rushed through the brush, tripping over tree roots and splintered wood. The atmosphere carried scents of moist soil and oxidation and something more, a subtle metallic smell that burned his throat. When Rex halted before the enormous enclosure concealed beneath a green covering, the world seemed to stop. His barking shattered the quiet like a thunderclap. Officer Daniels removed the covering, his breathing stopping in his throat. Within the enclosure sat 2 children, their complexions ashen, their legs drawn up against their bodies. Their large, frightened eyes gazed back at the officers as though they had been peering into darkness for endless hours. For an extended moment, nobody stirred. The single noise was the rattling of the enclosure as the children moved, holding each other tight, and Rex's continuous barking as if declaring, "They're right here. Don't waste another moment." Officer Daniels' hands trembled as he opened the massive padlock. The children recoiled at the harsh screech of metal, their faith so shattered they remained motionless. He extended his hand carefully, his tone calm, despite his breaking heart. He observed the rope marks around their arms, the grime on their clothing, and the traumatized expression of youngsters who had witnessed excessive terror in such brief time. However, Rex pressed his muzzle through the bars, making soft whimpering sounds, no longer barking, no longer intimidating, simply providing comfort. Something in his gaze finally convinced the children to crawl toward freedom. The instant they emerged into liberty, they fell into his coat, weeping, gripping him like salvation. The officers remained motionless, their own vision blurring. Despite all their preparation, the exercises, the countless hours of readiness, nothing had equipped them for the pure authenticity of that instant, the connection between innocence and faithfulness, between children and the dog who had rescued them. Officer Daniels cleared his throat forcefully, fighting back emotion as he transmitted the news. "We've located them. They're breathing." What followed became a whirlwind of activity. Emergency medical personnel arrived quickly, officers sealed off the location, residents assembled beyond the barrier tape. Yet amid the commotion, the siblings never released Rex. Even while medics examined their condition, even as warming blankets covered their shoulders, their tiny fingers remained wrapped in the dense dark coat of the shepherd who had discovered them. For the first time in hours, their tears stemmed not from terror, but from relief. As the investigation progressed, officers discovered the children had been missing for almost 36 hours. They had been deceived and confined, hidden somewhere no one would consider searching. Without Rex's determination, without the steadfast instinct of a dog who wouldn't surrender, the outcome could have been unimaginable. Officer Daniels later confessed he had been moments from abandoning the search in that area. We could have departed, he murmured to himself, and they'd still be trapped. This realization troubled him deeply, yet also intensified his appreciation for his four-legged colleague who had never faltered. Time progressed, but the memory of that rescue remained like a resonance in the hearts of all who had observed it. The siblings started recovering, their joy gradually returning, though bad dreams continued disturbing their sleep. Their family frequently gazed at Rex with moisture in their eyes, offering silent gratitude. They came to the station regularly, bringing baked goods for the officers and snacks for the shepherd. Every visit, the children rushed directly to him, pressing their faces into his fur, their muffled voices sharing secrets with the only creature who truly comprehended both their horror and their liberation. Rex transformed beyond a working canine. He became an emblem of optimism, bravery, and the strength of devotion without limits. Unknown individuals sent correspondence to the department, relating tales of their own dogs, stories of faith and rescue. Television networks broadcast the recording of the cage door opening, showing the genuine relief on the children's faces. For once, society witnessed more than crime or fear. They saw recovery, valor, and the kind of affection only animals provide without expecting anything back. Yet the narrative doesn't conclude with the rescue. What truly mattered was the quiet, invisible connection that continued developing between those children and Rex. Months afterward, when their parents hosted a small celebration, the children stood before everyone grasping Rex's leash with shaking hands. One spoke, her voice gentle yet resolute. "We felt afraid, but Rex helped us feel protected. We'll always remember him." Her sister added, "He provided us with hope when we had nothing." The entire gathering erupted in appreciation. Even veteran officers who had encountered humanity's darkest aspects wiped away tears, reminded of their purpose in serving others. Ultimately, that night's discovery wasn't merely the children in the enclosure. The true discovery was the limitless bravery of a dog who refused surrender, the strength of children who wouldn't be defeated, and the force of kindness that persists in a world too frequently darkened by cruelty. What started as tragedy transformed into triumph, not through power or weapons or violence, but through love, loyalty, and the silent bond between humans and animals. This is why when evening fell on that neighborhood weeks later, fear didn't linger, hope remained. Hope carried in a wagging tail, in the steady breathing of a dog resting beside two safe, healing children, and in the reminder that even in the darkest corners, illumination can still be discovered. If this story moved you, please take time to like, share, and subscribe to Loyal Hearts. Comment below to share your thoughts about the unbreakable loyalty of dogs and the power of compassion. Your response might encourage someone else who needs hope today. Special request: please comment "Loyal Hearts never give up" to show you stayed until the end and believe in the power of loyalty.